Siswa berceramah yang kedua akan disampaikan oleh siswa dari MA ALIF LAAM MIIM Surabaya dengan pembina Bapak Muhammad Mustafa MH. Dengan siswa Ananda Ahmad Ghulan Alim Mawardi. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Langsung dengan Mas Ahmad Ghulan ini ya.
Iya, benar.
Sudah siap Mas untuk menyampaikan ceramahnya?
Iya, siap. Sebelum
Nah,
itu saya mohon izin. Saya insya Allah akan berceramah menggunakan salah satu bahasa internasional yakni bahasa Inggris.
oh nggih, luar biasa. Monggo dipersilakan. Dengan tema hari ini apa Mas temanya?
Tema hari ini adalah The Brilliance of Ramadan, atau jikalau kita terjemahkan ke Indonesia adalah serba-serbi keutamaan di bulan Ramadan.
Oke, serba-serbi keutamaan di bulan Ramadan. Langsung saja nggih, waktu
Oke.
dan tempat kami persilahkan untuk Ananda.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'inu ala umuri dunya waddin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'du. Alhamdulillah, kesempatan yang sangat luar biasa dapat berceramah di depan hadirin sekalian. Untuk itu, perkenalkan, nama saya Ahmad Ghulan Alim, berasal dari MA ALIF LAAM MIIM. Insya Allah akan berceramah menggunakan salah satu bahasa internasional, bahasa Inggris. So, honorable teachers and my beloved fellow students, we are currently at the highly anticipated month of Ramadan. We all know and agree that Ramadan is a glorious and blessed month. But do we know what gives Ramadan such reputation? Today, I would like to share some knowledge regarding the brilliance of Ramadan. As Muslims, we know there are 4 blessed months, namely Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, Muharram, and Rajab. Doesn't it make you wonder, why is Ramadan not mentioned? Is Ramadan not a blessed month? Absolutely not like that. The 4 months I mentioned are the 4 months in which war is forbidden, alongside several other privileges. However, Ramadan is a month that is more special than that. There is a hadith narrated by Tirmidhi and Nasa'i that explains Rajab month is the planting phase, Sha'ban month is the watering phase, and Ramadan is the harvesting phase. The implication of this hadith is that the month of Ramadan is a time for Muslims to be happy because of the abundance of forgiveness and rewards that we can reap throughout the month. Historically, there are several important events in Islam that happens during the month of Ramadan. These events include the Nuzulul Quran, the Battle of Badr, and Fathu Makkah. In addition, there are several hadiths that explains the various privilege in the month of Ramadan. One of which is narrated by Imam Ahmad and goes, "Qad ja'akum syahrul Ramadan, syahrul mubarak, iftaradallahu alaikum siyamahu, yuftahu fihi abwabul jannah, wa yughlaqu fihi abwabul jahim, wa tughallu fihi syayatin, fihi lailatun khairum min alfi syahrin." The hadith told us that the month of Ramadan is a blessed month, and it's obligatory for us to fast in it. And at that time, the gates of paradise are opened, while the gates of hell are closed. The devils are bound, and there is one night that is better than 1,000 months. Have you ever wondered why fasting during Ramadan is an obligation? Fasting has a very deep meaning in the context of human servitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Fasting is not only an act that requires a physical effort, it also requires an inner health, wherein you are encouraged to perfect the inner being as Allah's highest servant. Piety, which is the ultimate end of the fasting commands, is explained in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 183. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu kutiba alaikumusiyam كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. We will not dwell on this verse for too long. However, we shall focus on one important sentence, which then becomes the starting point for exploring the history of fasting, namely, كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم, which means as it was obligatory on those before you. The fast of Ramadan was made obligatory for the Prophet Muhammad SAW and his people in the month of Sha'ban, in the second year of Hijri, in a manner and model that Muslims still do to this day. Afandi Mokhtar and Ibi Shatibi stated in their book that before the first requiring fasting was revealed, Muslims used to fast on the 10th of Muharram. When the Prophet Muhammad migrated and arrived in Medina, he found out that the Jews also fasted on the 10th of Muharram. According to the belief of the Jews, on the 10th of Muharram, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala saved Prophet Moses and his people from the attack of King Fir'aun. Then, Prophet Moses fasted on the 10th of Muharram as a sign of gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It was later on that Prophet Muhammad ordered the Muslims to fast on the 10th of Muharram. Let me share with you a fun fact. Did you know that once upon a time, our fasting and our eating time was swapped around? It's true. At the beginning of the time, where fasting was mandated, Muslims were allowed to eat, drink, and break their fast after iftar all the way until they did the Isha prayer and went to sleep. It was after they did the Isha prayer, they were no longer allowed to eat, drink, and break their fast until it was time for iftar. However, this practice was so difficult for Muslims that many of them violate the prohibition. Then Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala revealed a verse described in the Quran Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 187, which states, Muslims are allowed to eat and drink throughout the night of the month of fasting until dawn breaks. Of course, the verse was welcomed by Muslims at that time while giving thanks for the mercy of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. That's how the rules of fasting become what we know and do now. With all of this story and privilege that I have explained, it's no wonder that we are excited and happy to welcome the blessed month of Ramadan. It's what we call the brilliance of Ramadan. But it doesn't stop there. In Ramadan, Allah has also blessed us with a momentum to feel the sense of a community, reminding us to be here for each other and moving us to be closer, to be kinder, to be a better person, and hopefully remain so even after the month ends. So, when Ramadan comes, the question isn't, are you ready to be hungry? Instead, the questions will be, are we ready to be happy? Are we ready to be forgiven? Are we ready to be rewarded? Are we ready to be a better person? And are we ready to do it all together? When your answer to all of these questions is a resounding yes, then that is the moment where we can happily say, Marhaban ya Ramadan. Welcome to the fasting month. And may we be able to achieve all of its merits before it leaves us. That's all for me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.